Welcome to the next episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 1988 comedy classic, License to Drive, starring Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Heather Graham. It's an all-star cast. For those of you joining us for the first time, each week in the B Movie Club, we discuss certain guilty pleasures and forgotten classics. Movies that people tend not to talk about too often, if you know what I'm saying. Things that maybe you'll think back and be like, oh yeah, I saw that 25 years ago once. And I remember kind of enjoying it. That's what we do here at the B Movie Club. You can go ahead and go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, and give us the big thumbs up. That way you'll get all of the latest updates whenever I post something. If I find something funny on the internet, I'll just splash it up there and you'll see it instantly. You can also go to our page on YouTube, Kevin D, that's me. Hit the subscribe button, it's totally free, and you'll find out every time that I upload a new video. Good times. You can also communicate with me directly on Twitter at KD9575. If you're not on Twitter, what are you waiting for? It's the bomb. So go ahead and do those three things, and don't forget to spread the word and tell your friends. Okay. License to Drive. In this movie, you got Les Anderson. He's kind of a, everyman, if you will. He's a high school junior, I guess. He's struggling to prepare for his driving test coming up. While this is going on, there's also the girl, the girl of his dreams in his class, the beautiful blonde, named Mercedes. Yeah, that's her name. And she doesn't know him, doesn't know he's alive, so there's this thing going on. Meanwhile, Les also has his crazy friend Dean, who is just kind of crazy and inappropriate, and that's kind of what he brings to the table. We all have friends like that, don't we? You know them, don't you? So, as Les goes in to take the written exam, it's actually not written, it's on computers, okay? So, he fails the test, and in a rage, he jumps up and slams his hands on the computer screen, and all the computers shut down. So, because of his twin sister, yes, his twin sister just passed the test with flying colors, they just assume, hey, you probably passed it too. So they allow him, to go ahead and take the actual driving part of the exam, where he has a crazy driving instructor who makes him do all these outlandish things, but he passes. So he goes in there, they take his picture, he's ready to walk out the door, and there comes the evil DMV lady telling him that they've recovered his scores and that he failed. And kicks his butt out the door. So now he's bummed. What am I going to do? Meanwhile, there's people driving by celebrating. Yeah, I got my driver's license. He's got a tear in his eye. No, I don't. I don't have it yet. It's very sad. Sadly, however, by bizarre coincidence, he was able to wrangle a date with the beautiful Mercedes. They were at the same party, and her much older boyfriend was being a jerk. So, to spite him, she said she had a date with Les, who she didn't really know. Les goes up to her later and says, hey, I know that was just kind of a thing, but are we still on? She said, okay, sure, whatever. So, now he's got this date. Doesn't have a driver's license. It's a big thing. It's a problem. He goes home, doesn't tell his parents, kind of pretends like, yay, I got my license. They're all celebrating, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, they find out that that he failed, and they actually ground him for 2 weeks. This is serious parenting, okay? Not because he failed, but because he lied about it. That's 2 weeks grounding. So, it's very sad. He's kind of at home all bummed. Oh man, I'm grounded. I don't have a license. What am I going to do? Phone rings. It's Mercedes sitting at home eating Ben & Jerry's, wondering where he is. I thought we had a date tonight, Les. So he proceeds to sneak out the window and steal the car that it's actually his grandfather's car. His grandfather has left it with their family for safekeeping. It's a big Cadillac that he never drives. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a huge boat, by the way. It's gigantic. So he steals it, goes, picks her up. This is a hell of a day, by the way. So they promptly go to this bar where she runs in. He is not allowed in because, of course, he's only 16 or 15 or whatever he is. They stop him at the door. She ignores him, goes in there, sees her ex-boyfriend is now with another girl. So she gets pissed, steals a bottle of champagne, and runs out, and then they get in the car together. Unfortunately, his car is about to be towed away because he parked illegally at Mercedes' prompting. She's kind of a party girl, kind of a bad influence, if you will. So he has to give all of his money to the tow truck driver to get the car back. So now they don't have any money left to do anything. She leads him up to Inspiration Point, I guess. They don't call it that, but it's that kind of, they drive up through the wilderness to overlook the city. It's usually called Inspiration Point. You know what I'm saying? She probably gets totally hammered, drinking the champagne, tries to hit on Les, tries to make out with him, and then she passes out. At this point, Les goes to his buddy's house, Dean, who sees the girlfriend's unconscious and convinces Les they should go to this crazy drive-in restaurant type, kind of a 50s diner kind of thing where the girls are all scantily clad and wear like roller skates as they deliver your food. Whatever. So Heather Graham, Mercedes, is passed out in the back seat. They're driving to this crazy place out in the middle of nowhere. Dean promptly tries to take advantage of the poor unconscious Mercedes. There's a lot going on here. Okay, there's a lot to this. There's a lot of people making bad decisions, if you get my drift. I know, they're 16 or however old they are and prone to bad decisions, but these are bad decisions on an epic scale. I don't want to spoil everything that happens in this movie, except to say that at one point, Mercedes is literally, her unconscious body is thrown in the trunk of the Cadillac so that they can go hit on other girls. Yeah, that's how they do it here. Good times had by all. It is still streaming instantly on Netflix. If you've not seen it in the last 25 years, hey, it might be time to dust off that old copy of License to Drive. It's something that when you were 13 or 14 watching this, looking up to the two Coreys as they're, trying to get their driver's license, you're like, oh yeah, I sympathize with those wacky misadventures. When you're pushing 40, it's not quite so wacky, and it's hard to remember a time when you're just like, okay, this is how high school kids behave? I'm not so sure about that. This movie, Corey Haim was, of course, a big star at this point. He had just been in Lost Boys the year prior, also with Corey Feldman. Corey Haim hit the scene. He's Canadian, so there you have it. He came in and was in a bunch of movies. He was in, like, Lucas. He was in Silver Bullet, which we've done on the B Movie Club. Like I said, Lost Boys, which we've also done on the B Movie Club. Apparently, we've done all of Corey Haim's movies on the B Movie Club. So there you have that. He auditioned for this part. He got it. Rumor has it other people who auditioned for the part of Les Anderson include Ben Affleck, who at the time was a young guy, hadn't been in anything. Corey Feldman also auditioned for the role of Les. He did not get it. Instead, they offered him the part of the wacky, inappropriate, borderline date rapey friend, Dean. So he gets that role. And this was the first movie where they're like, they're in it together. I mean, Corey Feldman was in Lost Boys. He did a much smaller role. And this kind of kicked off their, hey, we're the two Coreys, put us on the cover of Bop and Teen Beat, if you will. People were running through the streets calling their name, if you will. So they were in this movie. Heather Graham had been, I think this was her big first major motion picture. She did other things after this, obviously. But she didn't really achieve, like, hey, that's Heather Graham, until, like, later in the 90s. So there's that. As we all know, Corey Haim dealt with a lot of issues at this point, but they said that, they were talking to the director and some of the producers of this movie, that in spite of all the craziness that was going on while they were filming this, like the guys would be out partying all night, evidently there is a secret private nightclub for underage actors, not just actors, underage celebrities somewhere in LA, so they'd be out rocking out at there all night. But to their credit, each morning they'd arrive on set on time, ready to perform. Corey Haim is credited for his performance, for his ability to improv. He said, I'll take a line that's written and I'll kind of spruce it up, add my own little flavor to it, and make it that much better. So there you have it. Evidently it worked. License to Drive was a hit. It was big. All of the young teeny boppers rushed out to see it. It did very well considering how much they paid to make it. It is kind of a snapshot of the 80s, at least 1988. It's like the fashion, the rolled up cuffs on your jeans, the crazy music people were wearing, or crazy music that people were listening to. This movie brought us the immortal hit, Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car by Billy Ocean. We all love that one, don't we? Get out of my dreams. There you have it. There was also another hit by the 80s star Pebbles called Mercedes Boy. If you want to ride in my Mercedes Boy. You know it, don't you? If you watch this movie, you will recognize most of the songs in the soundtrack. The opening theme was Baby You Could Drive My Car, which is a remake of the popular Beatles song by this other one-hit wonder group. So it's a lot of famous songs in this. I was looking up the two Coreys' filmography, and it's really kind of shocking how precipitous the decline is. By the late 80s, people were charging the stands. They loved the Coreys. They loved Corey Haim especially. I don't know if they loved Corey Feldman quite so much, but they were best friends in real life. So hey, they were like Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin, if you will. So people kind of got caught up in that mystique, and by people I mean 13-year-old girls. By the 90s, they were gone. You know what I'm saying? It's like they were still making movies, but they were decidedly of the straight-to-video variety. It literally they go from like, I'm making these movies to straight-to-video. Boom. Hit, video. And you're wondering, how the heck does this even happen? Evidently, Corey Haim, as we know now, had some drug issues. So where he used to be able to party and show up early and still get his job done, now he was out partying all night and not getting his stuff done. So very quickly people started not hiring him. It's very sad, especially that we know that he's not with us anymore. So Corey Feldman, however, is still around. As we know, we saw him on The Surreal Life in the early 2000s. I mentioned this before. The Two Coreys was a show on A&E talking about the two Coreys' friendships and all sorts of crazy stuff there. So there's that we have to look forward to, which is nice. Good times had by all. License to Drive, it's enjoyable. Like I said, it was a hit. Most of the critics hated it. Shockingly enough, Roger Ebert gave it 2.5 stars. He said it was an exceedingly passable summer comedy. So I guess that's good. Currently, it has a 19% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. This is definitely more of a movie for your kids, who are wanting to drive. Ironically, neither Corey Feldman or Corey Haim actually had their driver's license yet. They were still in their learner's permit. So it was like method acting, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. It is still streaming instantly on Netflix. You can watch it if you'd like. It was very nostalgic for me. I remember actually seeing this movie in the theater 1,000 years ago. So there you have it. Next week, I'm going to go back to the horror comedy genre. A while back, I did Evil Dead. Now I'm going to do Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Also starring the patriarch of the Big Movie Club, Bruce Campbell, favorite of mine, if you will, and a lot of other people you don't know, or anybody knows. It was directed also by Sam Raimi. He's a big Hollywood director type now. He did all those Spider-Man movies. Not the new ones, but the old ones. So it is streaming instantly on Netflix. Rush out and see it. It sounds like it should be horrific. It's really not. It's kind of goofy and silly, but it's available on Netflix. So see it if you have not already seen it. So there you have that. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. And here it is. Hey, can you take it out of neutral? We just got lapped by the street sweeper. That was kind of a tongue twister as well. Don't forget to go onto our page on YouTube and subscribe, or give us the big thumbs up. It's Original B Movie Club. Also go to our page on YouTube and subscribe. Also go to our page on Twitter at KD9575. And don't forget to spread the word, won't you? Thank you for joining us.